7 এপ্রিল 1900 তৎকালীন অধ্যাপক ও বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের 4টি অনুষদের অধীনে ব্যবসায় প্রশাসন, আইন, সিএসসি, ট্রিপলি, ইংলিশ, সোসিওলজি, সিভিল ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং, ফার্মেসি, ইকোনমিক্স ও পলিটিক্যাল সায়েন্স বিভাগের একাডেমিক কার্যক্রম সুচারুরূপে পরিচালিত হচ্ছে। বছরে বিভিন্ন সময় ঢাকা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ইউনিভার্সিটির শিক্ষার্থীগণ ফুটবল ও ক্রিকেট টুর্নামেন্ট, কম্পিউটার প্রোগ্রামিং কম্পিটিশন, ইনডোর গেমস, ন্যাশনাল ও ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ট্যুরের আয়োজন করছেন। এছাড়াও রয়েছে 20টিরও অধিক ক্লাব, যেখানে ডিবেটিং ক্লাব ইতোমধ্যে বেশ কয়েকবার জাতীয় পর্যায়ে চ্যাম্পিয়ন হওয়ার গৌরব অর্জন করেছে। বছরে কমপক্ষে 2বার জার্নাল অফ ঢাকা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ইউনিভার্সিটি প্রকাশিত হচ্ছে। আমাদের রয়েছে ইন্টারন্যাশনাল কোয়ালিটি অ্যাসুরেন্স সেল সহ মোট 7টি সেল, 3টি লাইব্রেরিতে প্রায় 50,000-এর অধিক বই এবং বিভিন্ন বিভাগের প্রাক্তন শিক্ষার্থীদের অ্যালামনাই অ্যাসোসিয়েশন বিদ্যমান। এ পর্যন্ত 6টি কনভোকেশনে 20,000-এর অধিক গ্র্যাজুয়েট সার্টিফিকেট গ্রহণ করেছেন এবং বর্তমানে 6,500-এর অধিক শিক্ষার্থী রয়েছে, এর মধ্যে 5 শতাধিক বিদেশি শিক্ষার্থী। ঢাকা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে পাশ করা গ্র্যাজুয়েটরা দেশ বিদেশের বিভিন্ন প্রতিষ্ঠানে সুনাম ও দক্ষতার সাথে কাজ করে যাচ্ছেন। আজ 7 এপ্রিল 2020 আমাদের 25তম প্রতিষ্ঠা বার্ষিকী। ঢাকা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ইউনিভার্সিটির পক্ষ থেকে সকলকে আন্তরিক শুভেচ্ছা ও অভিনন্দন। আপনাদের আস্থাই আমাদের অনুপ্রেরণা।
Rightly mentioned, the South Asian countries, that is Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives, and Afghanistan, we have some mutual issues, mutual interest, which need to be addressed. And obviously, nuclear-free South Asia, weapon-free South Asia, war-free South Asia, which many of us really dream. And what you have said, the borderless South Asia, for our mutual interest and mutual development, I think. So it was really a pleasure for us to hear from you on such a burning issues and topic. And also you have focused on the interest of Bangladesh and some very highly talked issues in Bangladesh, like the border killing and the employment opportunities and the National Citizenship Act. Everything was covered in your discussion. So now I would like to request Mr. Shamim Haidar Patwari MP to comment on today's topic and his views on this issue, that is nuclear and visa-free South Asia, after your discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Shaurab. It is an honor and privilege to be with Mr. Sandeep Pandey, who is a good friend of mine, and I visited his house and when I attended the invitation from King George Medical University, and we had a long discussion, politics and otherwise. I visited Lucknow. Lucknow is a wonderful city with Bada Imambara, Chota Imambara, Tunde Kebab, and Rohim Bhai's Kulcha Nehari. But above all, it's a city of wonderful peoples like Sandeep Pandey. So thank you, Mr. Pandey, for joining with us and enlighten us. It's an eye-opening session. You have enlightened the audience with something really, really important, and this is something really, really essential for our present and future. And I was in London for 4 years, and then I visited Europe 10 to 15 times, and I was amazed how European Union was created, how European Union spreaded its view, and how European Union really working. So it started initially as a coal and steel trading agency. The European countries, they form a European coal and steel coalition countries to control the market price. Then they formed the EU, and then they really opened the border. So anyone from any European country can go anywhere in Europe. You don't need any visa, you don't need an interview, nothing. Not only that, you can go there, you can settle there, you can work there. And not only that, within Europe, there is no tax barrier. So any product from one country or one European country can really travel to any other country without any customs, any tariffs, any tariff barrier or any non-tariff barrier. Even in one case, it's a very difficult case to spell. I can recall from my university days, Handel Gashelfs. It's a European Union case where Belgium was clearing their own cards, and then they clearing other countries' cards for delivering some product. So the European Union court says, no, this is a non-tariff barrier. You have to treat all countries' product in the same manner. So free movement of goods and free movement of persons, they have effectively started, and they have effectively started and established a wonderful model of cooperation. If you look at the history which Mr. Pandeyji already pondered upon, Europe was never been united. It was always composed of small nations. And always there was a frequent regional war between the states. The 30 years glorious war between Catholic and Protestant took place in Europe. Napoleon Bonaparte, who really massacred the map of Europe, it took place in Europe. And then the First World War and Second World War was essentially a European war. Then it spread to the world. But if you look at the Indian context, India was more or less always united and rich in heritage, rich in culture, rich in wealth, everything. Ashok was the wealthiest king in the whole world and mightiest during his time, of course. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the richest Muslim in the whole world. And of course, during the Mughal, India used to control 27.8% of the world economy. And if you look at later on, even during the Mughal period, there is another kingdom called Vijayanagar Kingdom, and their capital was Hampi. Hampi used to call one of the nicest city in the world after Rome. So people termed Rome as the nicest and richest city of the world, and second nicest and richest was Hampi. So what a great heritage we had. And then now we are facing the problem of haunted memory and anomalisy. So the partition and some prelude to partition created some haunted memory in our mind. And that really obstructing and putting an unjust and unintelligible impediment on anything, any good deed for these regions. So whenever we talk about visa-free Southeast Asia or nuclear-free Southeast Asia or other peaceful cooperations, those haunted partition memory, those riots, this come up in the mind of the politicians. And also politicians use it for political purpose, not for the benefit of the citizens. So my childhood dream, when I first traveled to Nepal and other countries in India, I traveled almost 50 times to India. And each time I take visa, and I thought, why we have to take a visa? When India was a united India, we used to pay tax. And if you look at the history written by Abul Fazl, Taj Mahal was also built through partial tax given from Bengal. But now if you want to go to Taj Mahal, I have to pay 500 rupees and I need visa. So the partition creates so many unjust things. India and Bangladesh is at the height of their mutual cooperation, and Bangladesh is the highest remittance sending country for India. So lots of Indian working here in the high post, engineers and all things, and Bangladesh is the highest remittance earner for India. So this is also a vice versa reciprocal relationship we had. And border and fencing, border killing is really a stigma in this relationship. You cannot really make a friendly relationship when you are creating a fencing around the border. At the moment, India and Bangladesh have almost 1800 kilometer border. And this is the most peaceful border India have, because India have border problem with Pakistan, India have border problem with China, obviously, India have border problem with Nepal now, unfortunately, with Bhutan I can see something, but the only border India having peace or least defense strategy cost is the Bangladesh border. And if you open this border, I'm sure India not going to lose anything. Rather, it will open a new market for both countries, a new market, new job opportunities, and new way of friendship. So, of course, Mr. Sandeep Pandey is pondering and advocating a really new economic and political order which we need. And after COVID, in the new normal situation, we need it most because our market has to be opened, market has to be widened, production cost has to be less, and also we have to share our technical know-hows and everything. The universities must be based on mutual international cooperation, and only then we can really make a worthy and rich Indian subcontinent, of course. And the nuclear free, of course, in law we called an act of injustice anywhere in the world is a threat to justice everywhere in the world. So any country or one country having nuclear weapon is threat for the entire world. As Mr. Sandeep Pandey says, that if Pakistan throw a nuclear bomb in Calcutta, Bangladesh is going to be affected, and the same is true. So when we have a huge number of people living extreme poverty, if you count the people of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh who are living below poverty level, whose earning is less than $1 a day, that alone will be considered a big country, one of the biggest countries in the world. But we are spending huge money for defense strategy and nuclear weapon and everything. So that's very unfortunate. That's extremely unnecessary, and that must be. We need a strong political will to get rid of this ego and past haunted memory. And people like Mr. Sandeep Pandey is advocating that we must get rid of haunted memory, anonymity, and excessive partisanship and uncontrolled anger. The anger between Hindu Muslims, the anger between India, Pakistan, and the anger between the refugees, settlers, Ansars, Muhajirs, Biharis, and all these things. And the partition was done in a very unfriendly and in a ugly manner. They divided Punjab into two parts, they divided Bihar into some part, they divided Bangladesh into two parts. So that really created a historical mistake. But are we willing to repeat the mistake again and again? Of course not. And the Citizenship Amendment Act is a very worrying act for Bangladesh, because Indian Home Minister alleging that 35 lakhs Bengalis are working in Assam, and at one point he says he's going to send them back to Bangladesh. We're already overburdened with the Rohingya, and we're not really ready to take any more refugee problem at all. And also from Indian constitutional perspective, which is a really egalitarian constitution and one of the best constitution drafted by any nation. Of course, Babasaheb Ambedkar was the creator and the founder and the draftsman of the constitution. It is contradictory to the spirit and letter of Indian constitution, which says anyone who came to India after 1971 can get citizenship if he is Sikh, if he is Jews, if he is Hindu, if he is even Jain. They include 6 religions, including Jews. There are only few Jews in India, but they excluded the term Muslims. And that really, I personally believe, hindering the spirit of constitutionalism or rule of law or human rights or anything you can say. So of course the liberal peoples, like I know, I have seen in the NDTV that Mr. Sandeep Pandey was protesting against CAA, and he was even house arrest for 2 days. And then he came out from the house and says, if you arrest me, arrest me. What is the term house arrest? In front of media. He's a very courageous man. He's a very respected man, a man of multidisciplinary personality. He got expertise in multiple disciplines, and his interest in liberal politics is a really essential asset for Indian politics. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep Pandey, for joining with us. And I'm sure there a lots of questions is waiting for you. And now the floor is open for question, I think. Mr. Shourab, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your very precious, informative, analytical, and impartial comments.